What is up, everyone? I'm Skratch. Welcome to the channel. This is another Raid Shadow Legends video. Hope you guys are having an amazing day. Guys, we're gonna have tons of summoning events throughout the weekend, okay? We have a hero pair event. We're not actually going to have a Titan event as we initially expected. So this event will actually last from Friday to Tuesday. So we have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday to basically summon. We have quite a bit of time to basically accumulate shards and get prepared for the event. So in today's video, I'm gonna walk you through all of the freaking champions that we have on the list. And oh boy, I gotta tell you, we have such a big list. Yeah, it might take me around 5 hours to read it all, but I'm quickly going to put it on the screen just in case if you're not very patient. Okay, so I'm not gonna read them right here. Feel free to pause the video, have a look at it. We're quickly gonna go over some of these champions and see basically what they're good at or how to basically kind of like build them, use them in today's meta. Now, I do want to mention quickly one more thing. Yesterday, I made a different video where we talked about how we can prepare for Faction Wars hard mode, right? And I've told you, dump your medals into the area bonuses because that will be really, really helpful. And a lot of you guys were wondering if they're not going to make a new area for it or anything like that. So they're not. They actually confirmed this a week or 2 weeks ago. I actually forgot when they, I think last Friday they confirmed this. Basically, it's the same thing is going to work for hard mode as well. As you guys can probably see on the screen, yes, absolutely. Existing area bonuses will work for hard mode, so you can start preparing for it. So they won't make a new one because that would be super dumb from them, but you never know. You can always put a question, I guess, right? And wonder if it might happen or not. Either way, I've already talked a bit about the hero path in the previous video that I released, guys. Feel free to check that out. Let me know your thoughts on the whole thing with the Fire Knight tournament, the hero path and stuff. But right now, we're actually going to talk about the champions. This Friday, March 28th, we're planning to launch a progressive chance event, giving you at least a 15x chance to summon the champions of your dreams from ancient, primal, voids, and sacreds, ladies and gentlemen. Now, what are we having here? Starting with Staltus Dragonbane. He is a very good champion. I actually like Staltus a lot. Good as a nuker for arena. Good for the dragon. He's absolutely demolishing the dragon on his own. Now, of course, you can use him in the curse area and many different areas. I have mine built on regeneration, both of them, and they're not really built for damage. They're just slow and super tanky to survive the dragon. That's mainly what I'm using my Staltus. Now, every now and then I am putting them in the curse area as well, but I'm not changing the builds for it. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend my build because probably you want to use him in more areas. But as I've mentioned, you can build him for damage. It won't be that good in the dragon like that, though. But really strong. The passive is what makes him really, really crazy. Tons of damage with a stun, the increased defense, the decreased crit damage, the decreased speed. Awesome champion. Then we have Hansel, Witch Hunter. Man, I had such high hopes for this duo when it got released. The kit sounded so freaking good, but they hit like wet noodles, okay? So they're not really good. He's not a great champion. I would not put him on the list. And to be honest, I would not recommend you to invest in the champion if you're early game and stuff like this. I'm not saying that, well, he's not really going to help you anywhere whatsoever. I feel like, yes, you could potentially gain some value out of the champion. But to be honest with you guys, I don't necessarily think that he's going to be like super amazing in any content. Like, you're gonna replace him very, very quick. I'm not even gonna go over his kit. Faction War champions. That's exactly how I'm seeing him. Then we have Cupidus. Cupidus is actually nice, good for Hydra. If you need a damage dealer pair with Venus, you can still use them in arena as a couple. Much harder to gain tons of value from them, but they're still good to carry you in tag team arena, especially in the lower tiers. Good for the Spider if you need it. He deals good damage with increased attack, good hit right here, AoE HP burn, AoE on the A1, Curse City, in tons of different areas. So I think he's a good champion. I have mine built on a Savage with slightly higher accuracy than usual, and that is mainly because I'm trying to use him versus the Frost Spider as well in the Curse City usually. So that's basically the whole idea with him. Then moving on to the next one, we actually have who do we have? Who do we have? We have Valkyrie, solid counterattack champion. Very big shield with this A2 skill. She used to be so freaking good in the clan boss. She used to be so freaking good in arena and many different areas, right? But I feel like since she definitely lost some value. Like the passive is not that good for arena. She's not that good for arena anymore whatsoever because of Stone Skin and just the current meta, how it evolved. She's still good. She's still a strong champion. Don't get me wrong. Cursiri, Fire Knight, Faction War, some of the dungeons. Like she's a solid carry, clan boss. So definitely not a bad champion whatsoever. Like he's gonna be. I mean, probably at some point it will happen, the day when we're going to be like, well, Valkyrie's pretty mad now, guys. You know, she's not what she used to be. But I feel like she's not there yet. She's still good, and she can be a powerhouse, especially for progression, guys. Then, moving on to the next one, we have Lissandra. I am using my Lissandra in the Dark Fae. She's good versus the Fire Knight in the Cursiri. She's still pretty good in Arena. I see a lot of people using her in Arena. Personally, I'm not. I could make mine to +4, but I'm not doing it, and that's mainly because I need her as weak as possible for the Dark Fae, right? So that's the main reason why I'm not actually doing it. A very strong skill with Energize. You have the Exhaustion. Either you build her on full speed, you can either build her on Supersonic. That's a very viable option to try and basically counter some of the champions like Sifi and others in a arena. You have quite a few different options. She does require accuracy to deplete the Thermitter and all that. So I think she's still a pretty good champion. Moving on to Cardiel. Everybody loves Cardiel, right? So he is on for the Voids, guys. Great for Hydra, great for Fire Knight, great for Arena, great for Cursiri, great for dungeons, great pretty much everywhere. I haven't used him at all in the Chimera, so I won't really make a comment on it. Mine is built for damage, mainly for the Fire Knight, so I have him on a Savage set or a Lethal set. I can't really remember exactly, but he's doing an amazing job. You're getting the healing, the cleanse. He's just such a complete champion, right? He has so many things in his kit, the buffs and everything else. Really strong. Then we have Tuhanarak, still a solid champion, Hydra clan boss. Block buffs, decrease attacks, spread to debuffs. You have the buffs, the increased defense, increased speed. You have the decreased speed. You have the healing, the passive. Either you build her on a Relentless, either you build her on a 9-piece protection because of the buffs. Even a Feral set can actually work pretty decent on her as well. One of these three, in my opinion. Fast, accuracy, that's basically what you want to get on her. Then we have Baron. My god, I even forgot that Baron exists. When was the last time we had him? We had him on an event. Probably 2023, right? If I remember it correctly. Sky Piercer, still a very powerful skill. Okay, very powerful. I feel like he kind of dropped out of the meta when Taras was released because it was so much harder to use him. And other than that, he's still good. Cursiri, Faction Wars, if you need a Slayer for the waves, but you need pretty good stats on him, he's going to do an amazing job. The only thing is that for Arena, he's just not there anymore. But very good damage out of the champion, right? Moving on to the next one. Saturday, guys. March 29th, same story. All these champions will be on a 15x progressive, right? We have Mighty Uko. Mighty Uko was a fusion. Good for the Hydra, still good for Arena, good for the Cursiri, good for Faction Wars. And to be honest with you guys, I think she can be good for the Chimera as well on the lower difficulties. If you don't have some of the crazy revivers and stuff like that, I feel like she can definitely do an amazing job. You have the decreased attack, you have the block buffs, decreased accuracy, which helps with trials, you have the increased speed, the revive, you know, the passive, which I don't think the passive is really important versus the Chimera, but hey, you still have it there. And you have a speed aura for all battles. Moving on to the next champion, we have Sneak Track. Sneak Track, once again, good for the Chimera. He does bring in a lot of things. I still haven't used him, though. You have decreased attack, you have the decreased speed and the leech, you have the ally protection, the reflect damage. This can actually help with trials. I find it super hard to deal with that trial, guys, because if you're putting decreased attack on that boss, he's just not going to do a lot of damage to basically reflect enough back onto the boss or to have damage dealt to shield either. So that's basically my main issue with that boss. And right here, you have the reflect damage in the passive when they are under leech, which is pretty nice. So he's an interesting champion. Moving on to the next one, we have Gwendolyn the Silent. Is this the... for a second, I thought that was the entire freaking faction here. Gwendolyn, good for Hydra, good for Fire Knight, good for Clan Boss, good for the Chimera. I feel like Gwendolyn is going to shine a lot in the Chimera once we're going to have area bonuses, because we're going to be able to basically make the champions ignore more defense. That's going to be pretty helpful for them. And Gwendolyn brings in a lot of things. Extends the duration of debuffs, triple hitter, you have the decreased speed, you have the leech, decreased accuracy, you have increased accuracy, block debuffs, block debuffs, sorry. So you have a lot of things in the kit, plus the extra turn mechanic, which will enable the champion to do some additional damage. Moving on to the next one, we have Artak. Artak is good in the Fire Knight, in the Spider, sorry, good in the Curse City on some stages, good in the Doom Tower versus some bosses. He was a free champion. Good versus the event dungeons usually. HP burn, detonation, decrease attack. Even for Hydra progression-wise, he's not really a top dog in the Hydra, don't get me wrong. Like, it's nice to bring the HP burn and the decrease attack, but he's not really a top dog. Good to solo the Ice Golem as well. Of course, not the waves and all that, because you need some firepower, but he can get the job done on the boss, which is pretty nice. Then, moving on to Koragar Death Bell. I actually like Koragar Death Bell. I think he's pretty damn nice for a lot of content. He can be pretty annoying. One of the best ally protection champions in the game. Healing on the A1, you get an AoE attack with a chance to fill the thermometer of all allies by 30%, and cleanse, which is good. An ally protection and a strengthen, and you have the passive, which increases a bit of stats as well, and the counter attack. So he can be really annoying in a siege if you're doing Ogryn Tribes team. You can definitely pull a lot of things with him, but I don't think he's necessarily a fan's favorite, right? He can be nice built on a stone skin plus speed. You want to have him fast for the siege mode, though, but for the other content, you don't really need him crazy fast or anything like that. Moving on to Warlord, Void Champions. Yeah, Warlord is still strong for Arena, guys. Like, I mean, he's been strong since day one, and he's still staying strong. Putting the skills on maximum cooldown, has a chance to deplete thermometer, immunity, shield, healing. The only thing is that he attacks. So unlike Yumeko, for example, he attacks, you're gonna have Taras counterattacking. So he's basically weak versus champions like Taras, because he will get feared as well and all that, but he's still really good. I'm still using mine in live arena and all that. Not as often as I used to do, but I'm still using him. And now, to be honest, with Fabian, I would definitely prefer Fabian over Warlord. I have the speed aura, I can decrease buffs on the enemies, you know, and yes, I do have a chance to weak hit and all that, but I think Fabian for live arena is better in my opinion. Then, moving on to Leorius the Proud. So, where are my skinwalkers? Right here. He's still a good nuker, though. Mainly because he can stay alive. But the damage is not really there, considering what meta we have at the moment. And he really fell off a lot. He doesn't ignore defense. He doesn't ignore stone skin. He doesn't ignore any of the debuffs. But he debuffs. I like that you can put... I mean, as long as this skill is not on cooldown, he's immune to crowd control debuffs, which is really good. But I wouldn't use Leorius in any game modes except Curse City or Faction Wars, basically. But a lot of you guys will do because he might be one of the best nukers that you have on the account. So Tag Team Arena, Live Arena in the lower tiers, Classic Arena to farm, he's still going to be strong. Don't get me wrong. Then we have a Raka. I would like to get a Raka because I have a 6-star soul for her. Would be nice for the Siege mode. So most likely out of the Void champions, I will put her on my 15x progressive chance. Speed Aura for all battles. You have the passive that gives you turn meter and continuous heal. The revive with immunity, increase attack and shield, and the A1, a bit of healing as well. Pretty nice. So either you're building her tanky, and you're basically giving her stone skin and some other sets to stay alive. Protection works amazing. Relentless will work amazing for the Chimera. She's pretty good for the Chimera too, because of the turn meter, the speed aura, and the buffs. Moving on to Sunday. My god, we have so many freaking champions. We have Prince Skymar to open with. Still very strong. A lot of people are using him in Live Arena, to be honest with you guys. And that's mainly because now you have Pinpoint gear, you have Feral gear, so it's less likely for him to get polymorphed. And truth be told, polymorph is slowly disappearing from high tier arena. It's less and less every single week by the looks of it. Because people opt for different blessings that might help them stay alive, because polymorph does have some counters now. But it's still there, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. The reset is what makes Kaima really good. I'm running him on pretty much every speed team that I have in the game in terms of farming Doom Tower, some of the dungeons on the waves. I have one built on Savage for damage, and one is just built on Perception gear and Fast. But I'm not using him in Arena because I don't really have a good soul for him, right? But he has a very good speed aura for Arena, AoE attack, the poisons, the sleep buffs. Pretty damn nice as a champion. Then we have Theodore the 7th. I'm running my Theodore in some Curse Series stages, and I am running him on the Spider. You can run him on the Dragon if you want to. You could run him on the Chimera if you're trying to go for trials, but to be honest, he's just not really bringing that much for the Chimera to use him in there. It's hard to replace a champion with him because poisons in general don't really bring in a lot of damage there, right? So he's still a nice champion. I like Theodore. Then we have my Salad, Mashaled. Mashaled is still good. Good damage from this skill, to be honest. You have the fear, the increased speed, the leech, the increased crit damage, and then the A1 does do pretty good AoE damage as well when you have enemies under leech. So definitely do not sleep on a Mashaled. Actually a pretty nice one. Savage, that's how you want to build him, or Merciless or Lethal. Basically ignore defense sets, but you do need some accuracy on him. Then we have Tomb Lord. So seems like we're going faction by faction, factions, rather than that we go have the Corrupted, the Galen Pact, Talarians, and then we're gonna have the Nyresten Union. So who else do we have from here after I said Tomb Lord, right? Tomb Lord is good because of the multi-hits, triple hitter, the decreased speed, tons of poisons, and you have this skill that manipulates turn meter, decrease attack, defense down. A lot of these champions are really good in the Curse City, to be honest. Like, that's where they shine the most. But he is good as well in the Hydra if you don't have better options. I used to run my Tomb Lord in the Hydra for quite a while. Good for the Fire Knight, good for the Dragon as well. So you can definitely gain tons of value out of a Tomb Lord. Then, Battle Khazar. Battle Khazar is good to basically cleanse, heal, poison, and increase the damage with a passive. Great for one-shot strategies, or maybe two-shot strategies on some of the bosses if you're not able to one-shot them. Because of the passive, when they're under poison, they deal 20% more damage, right? Which is really, really good. I do think he fell off quite a bit, Battle Khazar, because he used to be kind of like the solo guy in the Ice Golem, in the Dragon, and all that. He can still work, not on hard mode in the Ice Golem, but he can work on the Dragon, Curse City, Faction Wars, and just as a progression, he's still really, really strong, to be honest. Then, moving on to the next one, we have King Narcissus. King Narcissus is really, really strong as a nuker, guys. I love him for Live Arena, Classic Arena, Siege mode. He's just the freaking GOAT. I love that he can block revive with this skill. With Ancora, they're so good together. He just dumps on pretty much anyone that has shield or strengthen. Like, no questions asked. He just dumps on all of them. Really, really, really nice. And he has a chance to increase the cooldowns of the skills. I have mine built on Savage plus Stone Skin. I still think is the best combo. So like this, you can actually use him in all of the arena areas, basically. Then, moving on to the next one, we have Valkanen. I have a 6-star for Valkanen. I would love to get him, to be honest. But I think I will try for Raka. Speed Aura for arena battles. He's very unique with the ability to basically kill one of your allies and then go crazy. Half his skills go super crazy. Deals good damage. Can work in Hydra, very nice, but you kind of need to manual for it. And yeah, other than that, great in a lot of PvE content too. I think he's a very fun champion. Savage, Merciless, Stone Skin, Savage, Lethal. You guys kind of like know the drill with this. That's kind of like what you're aiming for. Then we have Hegemon. Hegemon, it is making a comeback. I said this like a few months ago when they introduced the pinpoint gear and the feral. And indeed, he is definitely used in live arena very, very often. You have Shuzan, a lot of 10-meter boosters, and he's just really, really good for it. Either as a damage dealer, a lot of champions are not built in Stone Skin anymore, right? Even some nukers are not built in Stone Skin anymore. So you can just go ham with him and just wipe them before they even get to move, or kill one of their super important champions, right? That's going to be really, really helpful. Then, moving on to the next one. We have Monday, guys. We have Underpriest Brogni. Yeah, good champion. I'm not really using him much except the Curse City on some boss stages. Good support champion. He's a massive powerhouse for progression, to be honest. You have the HP burn, the buffs. You have a bit of a cleanse right here. The passive, which reflects damage. I feel like one of the main things that really sucks on him is that this passive doesn't reflect damage versus the Fire Knight, okay? So I feel like that is one of the main things. Then we have Kawilte. I can never pronounce that name. He's nice versus Armans, but only for Classic Arena, Tag Team Arena. In Live Arena, you can control what skills you're using, or you can ban him, right? But this passive is really, really good. And if you have a decent build on him to be able to kill some of the enemies, he's actually going to be solid, right? But he's not the craziest champion in the game. And he's not being used as much as I thought he would be used, right? Like, he does deal decent damage. The more 10-meter he drops, the more damage he's going to deal, actually. But he's nice. Sometimes you actually don't want to build him in Stone Skin. Just Savage or Merciless, actually, to get even more damage, because you want to have the armaments to try and control him and drop the 10-meter, right? Because the stun gets removed instantly from the passive. Then we have Hundig. Hundig is amazing for the Dark Fae. You can run him in many different areas. The A1 is really nice as well. Good for arena in some areas, like Tag Team Arena or Classic Arena. Defense down. You have the decreased accuracy. Fully depletes the 10-meter, weaken, HP burn. Pretty nice passive as well. Definitely not a bad champion. Then we have Owella. Owella, she is very nice as a 10-meter booster. Good for the Chimera. Good for some Curse Series, some bosses. Good for the Ice Golem. You have the decreased speed. You have the healing right here and increases the duration of buffs. You have the 10-meter, the increased resistance. I think she's a really nice champion. Personally, I think a Relentless works amazing on her. Then we have Mishinaki. Mishinaki is great for the Hydra, great for Curse City, great for Faction Wars, great for some dungeons, great for Clan Boss. I haven't really used him in the Chimera yet. I don't think Hex champions are really good for the Chimera, personally. But hey, HP burn, defense down, decrease attack if they're under Hex, removes all buffs, the passive, which is really, really good. Because it brings in a lot of extra damage. Merciless is the best build for him, to be honest, because that will allow him to deal crazy damage. Now, if you don't have a good Savage or anything like that, a Relentless can potentially work early game progression, to allow you to basically gain a lot of extra turns and make the most out of his utility. Then we have Acrisia on the list. Good for the Chimera, good for Hydra, good for Sandower's Necropolis. If you build her on Stone Skin, she's good for the Phantom Shogun, good for some dungeons. All of the skills, enemy max HP. All of my Acrisias are still built in Relentless. You can, of course, go with Savage if you want, but I feel like Relentless is definitely the best way for her, especially for Hydra, especially if you have a few levels on your Great Hall as well, on your area bonuses. Then we have Tormin the Cold. A lot of people are still using him in the arena, and that's mainly to counter champions that bring in a lot of buffs, thermometer boosters, etc. He can be pretty annoying sometimes. I'm not gonna lie, I am getting smacked every now and then if I have bad RNG and he freezes my entire team constantly. It's all about the passive. He can deal decent damage. You can build him either on Stone Skin and just make him stall, or Stone Skin plus Savage and deal some damage. Even a stun set can work really nice on him. And if you combine him with an HP burn champion, they're gonna have a good time together. Let me just tell you that. And the last champion on the list, guys, I'm out of voice right here. Amic Trunkheart. Amic is great for some cheese. I call them cheese, but they're not necessarily cheese teams. For the Hydra, not as good because that taunt lost value in the Hydra clan boss. But he's still pretty interesting. Great for Karsiri. Great for clan boss. Great for the Iron Twins because it enables you to make some funky teams with Unkillable and stuff. Pretty good champion, and I like that he decreases the duration of skills on the allies. Either way, let me know in the comments down below which one of these champions is your most wanted. We do have a massive freaking list. For the Voids, most likely I'm going to go for Raka. For the non-Voids, I'm really not sure for who I'm going to go, to be honest. Probably... It's pretty hard, actually, because none of them are like, wow, Probably I'm going to go for Wilte because I don't have him, right? But either way, guys, that was all for this video. Appreciate all of you guys watching. Good luck on your summons. Hopefully, we're going to have an easy Path of Light event and it's not going to be crazy hard or anything like that. As usual, appreciate all of you guys watching. Much love, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace.